Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm your boy Numbskull, and boy have I got a video for you all today. Today, in the Mind and Molecules series, we're zeroing in on something that's been blowing up in the herbal and recovery communities, and something that's had quite a bit of bad press and misinformation regarding it recently, 7-hydroxymetragenine, or 7-O for short. If you've dabbled in kratom discussions or followed the opioid alternative scene, you know it as the powerhouse metabolite behind some of kratom's buds. But like always in this series, we're skipping the reports, vendor plugs, and most personal use talk. This is a straight-up scientific breakdown from peer-reviewed studies on its pharmacology, effects, therapeutic upsides, and real risks. My goal? Arm you with facts so you can make informed calls, because misinformation in this space can straight up derail lives. I've really been wanting to get a video up about this substance, and I for one am in support of responsible use of this substance, emphasis on responsible, as I am in favor of preventing its complete ban. Shout out to your local scumbag for encouraging me to make this video now. A quick disclaimer. This is 100% educational. Kratom and its alkaloids like 7-O aren't FDA approved for any medical use, and while kratom itself isn't federally scheduled in the US as of November 2025, 7-O isolates are under heavy FDA scrutiny with emergency bans in places like Florida. It carries risks of dependence, interactions, and rare severe outcomes, especially when mixed with other substances. I'm not recommending or endorsing use. Consult a doctor, prioritize harm reduction, and let's get into this. First off, what exactly is 7-hydroxymetragenine? Chemically, it's got an absolute beast of a name, and there's no way that I'm going to read this entire thing off to you right now. But it boils down to an indole alkaloid derived from the kratom tree, Mitragynia speciosa, native to Southeast Asia. Kratom's been used traditionally for centuries as a stimulant at low doses and pain reliever at higher ones. Chewed fresh or dried into tea by laborers in Thailand and Malaysia. 7-O was first isolated in 1994 by Japanese researchers, but gained traction in the 2000s when studies confirmed it's formed in vivo from metragenine, the plant's most abundant alkaloid, via hepatic oxidation, primarily by CYP3A4 enzymes. Natural concentrations are tiny, just 0.6 to 0.7% of total leaf alkaloids, meaning you need roughly 100 grams of average kratom to extract a single milligram of pure 7-O. That's why modern products use concentrated extracts or semi-synthetic versions in tinctures, capsules, or enhanced powders. It's not fully synthetic like fentanyl, but it's not just a plant either. Bioavailability is excellent orally or sublingually, with minimal first-pass loss compared to metragenine itself. Now, the pharmacology. This is where 7-O shines as a brain-body hybrid. It's a partial agonist to mu-opioid receptors with a binding affinity of 9 to 13 nm, making it 10 to 46 times more potent than metragenine and roughly 3 to 5 times more potent than morphine in rodent, tail flick, and hot plate analgesia tests. The real magic is its biased agonism, right? So it strongly activates G-protein signaling for pain relief and euphoria, while weakly recruiting beta-arrestin 2, the pathway tied to respiratory depression, constipation, and tolerance in classic opioids. However, respiratory depression in the substance is extremely low, essentially non-existent in most cases. Studies in mice show 7-O produces 3 to 10 times less respiratory depression than morphine at analgesic doses, my bad, with minimal impact on gastrointestinal transit time. It also acts as a competitive antagonist at delta opioid receptors and a weak partial agonist at kappa opioid receptors, which may dampen reward-seeking behavior and contribute to anxiolytic effects without the dysphoria of typical pure kappa agonists. Outside the opioid system, it binds to alpha-2 adrenergic receptors, explaining low-dose stimulation and vasoconstriction, and inhibits serotonin and dopamine reuptake at higher concentrations, giving its mild antidepressant and prosocial properties. The pharmacokinetics in humans. Half-life is 2.5 to 3 hours, Tmax 1 to 1.5 hours, Cmax proportional to dose, and primarily renal clearance as glucuronide conjugates. Females show 20 to 30% slower clearance due to lower CYP3A4 activity. Interesting fact. Crucially, rodent self-administration studies show no conditioned place preference at analgesic doses and no escalation like oxycodone. Plus, it reduces morphine self-administration in dependent rats, supporting potential in opioid use disorder treatment. Now let's talk effects, grounded in user surveys, case reports, and lab data. I'm not endorsing it, it's just the facts. Doses vary wildly. In whole leaf kratom, 2 to 5 grams, you're getting 0.1 to 0.5 milligrams 7.0 indirectly. Concentrated extracts deliver 1 to 5 milligrams for strong relief, with thresholds as low as 0.3 milligrams sublingually. Onset takes about 20 to 40 minutes orally, peaking in 1 to 2 hours, with a total duration of about 4 to 6 hours. Positives first, because they're legit and backed. Potent analgesia. Large online surveys show 70 to 80% of chronic pain patients rate relief comparable to codeine or tramadol, with fewer GI side effects. Mood elevation and anxiety reduction via serotonin modulation is another nice effect that this substance can provide. Low doses, under 2 grams kratom equivalent, produce clean stimulation, improved focus, and sociability, often described as coffee meets mild opioid. And a fun side fact, kratom leaf is actually in the same family as coffee. Continuing along. As a withdrawal aid, small clinical pilots report 40 to 60% reduction in opioid craving scores and smoother taper symptoms without intense euphoria. Not to mention, it does give you euphoria. I don't want that to be taken wrong. I'm just saying it's not as intense as something like fentanyl. Preclinical data show anti-inflammatory action in rodent arthritis models via COX2 suppression and neuroprotection in neuronal cell cultures against glutamate, excitotoxicity, and oxidative stress. It's not a panacea, but for millions avoiding pharmaceutical opioids, it's a safer bridge with a lower overdose ceiling. But balance check. The negatives are real, and ignoring them is reckless, as with any substance. Common side effects mirror mild opioids: nausea, dizziness, dry mouth, constipation, but they're dose dependent and resolve quickly with tolerance or dose adjustment. Dependence risk is moderate. Daily use over 5 grams kratom equivalent triggers physical withdrawals after about 1 to 2 weeks. Flu-like symptoms, insomnia, restlessness, the whole deal. Peaking day 2 to 3, resolving in 5 to 7 days, and far milder than heroin or oxycodone. No seizures, no delirium. High doses, greater than 10 milligrams per 7.0, can cause tachycardia, agitation, or rare seizures, particularly in polysubstance contexts. Liver enzyme elevation occurs in 5 to 10% of heavy users, usually reversible. Serotonin syndrome is possible with SSRIs or MAOIs, of course. No massive death toll. There are under 50 kratom-linked fatalities in the U.S. data. Most, if not all, polysubstance with benzos, alcohol, fentanyl, etc. But even extract potency has caused accidental overdoses. Long-term rodent studies show tolerance within 7 to 14 days and subtle dopamine D2 receptor downregulation in the nucleus accumbens, risking anhedonia with chronic high-dose use, though no evidence of neurodegeneration. Now, I want to make a quick pivot to the policy storm because, make no mistake, what happens with this substance and its potential ban will shape the future. As of November 2025, the FDA has issued warning letters to over 30 vendors selling 7.0 isolates. Florida enacted an emergency Schedule 1 ban, and the DEA is considering federal scheduling under the kratom extract umbrella. The rationale? Potency and abuse liability, despite whole leaf kratom remaining legal in most states. But here's the rub. Banning 7.0 isolates is already driving users to unregulated semi-synthetics. Take for example MGM15, a metragenine derivative with a methoxy modification at the 15 position. It binds MOR with 4 to 10 times greater affinity than 7-0, has a half-life of 15 hours, and is already widely available online in research chemical shops and some consumer products. Early vitro and rodent data show extreme sedation, unknown phase 1 metabolites, and severe rebound anxiety, making 7-0 look downright safe by comparison. It's the law of unintended consequences. Clamp one door and riskier ones swing wide. And in my opinion, we need less illegal substances in 2025. Not more. It'll only start here, guys. In a tiny segment on metragenine pseudoindoxyl, a semi-synthetic rearrangement product formed under specific extraction conditions. It's a tricyclic MOR agonist with 100-fold greater potency than metragenine in mouse writhing tests, showing longer-lasting analgesia but significantly increased respiratory depression in preliminary rodent models. It's already appearing in commercial kratom concentrates and sold standalone online as a, quote, premium alkaloid. While promising for pain research, its narrower safety margin makes it a high-risk substitute if 7-0 vanishes. On the research front, 7-0 is a goldmine for opioid innovation. Its G-protein bias is being used to design next-gen analgesics with minimal OD risk. Companies like Kratom Therapeutics are filling patients. Early human OUD trials show safe dose escalation up to 8 milligrams with no respiratory events. But therapeutic approval? Years away. Needs randomized controlled trials, not just purely survey data. It remains a bridge compound, potent relief without the full opioid hammer, but not entirely risk-free. In summary, 7-hydroxymetragenine is kratom's secret sauce, a biased opioid agonist delivering real analgesia, mood support, and withdrawal relief with a lighter respiratory footprint than traditional opioids, but shadowed by dependence, side effects, and regulatory heat, that's pushing people to, go for analogs like I mentioned MGM and pseudoindoxyl. This substance is fascinating as a molecule, valuable as an alternative, and I'm 100% in support of keeping 7-0 legal and accessible to responsible adults. Education over prohibition, because bans will never erase demand. They'll only just make things worse. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be our deep dive on 7-0. It's quite the unique and interesting substance, isn't it? Definitely one of my favorites to talk about, and I do enjoy dabbling myself. I hope you all could learn something useful from me. If you did, smash that like button, comment your thoughts on this substance, and subscribe for more mind and molecule breakdowns and other substance-related content. And pop on those post notifications if you don't want to miss any new content from me. If there's a specific drug you want me to make a video on, also let me know in the comments down below. As always, prioritize harm reduction, be curious, and stay safe out there. And I will, of course, see you all in the next one.
Peace!